And that's the secret. The buyers are going to be wondering, what else did you put lower on the priority list? You could try to convince them that you did all the dirty maintenance stuff that they can't see, but skipped all the easy stuff they can see. But I think you're going to have a tough sale on your hands. Hi, and welcome to Talking Realty, the go-to podcast for home sellers looking to make more money, save time, and avoid headaches. Whether you're selling a flip, a new build, an income property, or the place you call home, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Glen Whitten, 20-year broker and founder of the Ohio Property Group, where we help home sellers get the most out of their property. Most home sellers hate paying huge commissions to realtors. At the Ohio Property Group, we do all the same things as other realtors, but instead of charging a huge commission, we charge a low, flat fee to sell your home. So our sellers not only save thousands, they usually get better results. To learn more, head over to talkingrealty.com. While you're there, sign up for our monthly newsletter, pick up any of our free home seller tools. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Talking Realty so you never miss a thing. All right, so let's get to it. If you've ever sold a home, you've probably convinced yourself that it's worth a certain amount. And you've got all that feelings when you plant the sign and we hit go on the MLS that this sucker's going to have a line of buyers. Well, sometimes it doesn't happen. And I'm here today to give at least one reason why. So if you want to know what causes buyers to step away, what causes them to choose other homes over yours, you're not going to want to miss this episode. Today's episode centers around office truth number 4, buyers look for reasons not to buy. As some of you may know, I wasn't always the flat fee guru that I am now. In fact, when I got my license way back yonder in 2000, not 2000 anything, just 2000, I started out, the only gig that was attractive to me, and frankly, one of the big reasons I jumped from retail into real estate was because a family friend was running a brokerage. And well, he wasn't my friend, he was my family's friend. I didn't know the guy. I met him at a Knights of Columbus fish fry. So for those of you from small town Ohio, you'll know exactly what that is. Anyway, so I'm there, I'm working, and the only job they had for me, because he was the king of the mountain, he was the listing agent, so all listings in that whole office went to this guy. He had me on as a buyer's agent, which is not a bad job. It's not a bad way to actually break into the business. You learn a lot without the pressure of spending money on advertising and all that good stuff. You just scoop up the buyers from his listings. So that was the gig. He of course had a lot of listings, so he would flip all the buyers over to me, and then I would run out and take them and try to get them closed. And if I did, I paid him a percentage of the commission because he, quote unquote, referred that buyer to me. So that's kind of how that whole thing worked. But anyway, by this point in my career, I had shown, I don't know, quite a few homes. And I was maybe a year or two in, and I remember I was on, I believe it was home number 18 or 19. And that's unusual because usually I could get them in the first 5 or 6 because we did a really good job of qualifying and then sorting the properties to make sure that we were showing them only good matches on that first or second tour. But regardless, so here we are, home number 19, and we're walking through what I believe, and according to them, and all of their feedback. Remember, I had 18 homes to compare it to that didn't work. I believed it was this was it. It was a new listing. It was the perfect listing for them. It seriously checked every single box they had. So I'm like, thank you to whatever higher power you thank. Like this is a good day. We're going to actually get this one under contract. And they were psyched. So we did the outside, we did the inside, and we get to the kitchen and we're just chit-chatting and everything is beautiful and this is looking good. And typically I'll just go ahead and, back then I'll whip out the paperwork. For those of you born after me, paperwork is how we used to do things. They didn't always have digital DocuSign and dot loop and stuff like that. But anyway, so I got my folder with my blank forms. I'm always ready to write a deal. Thinking that's what we're doing in the kitchen, as I'm sort of shuffling around, getting paperwork ready to go, one of the couple just casually opens one of the kitchen drawers and it's dirty. I mean, It's not just a few pieces of lint dirty. It's dirty, like nasty dirty. And it had nasty, dirty stuff in it. And that was it. Deal was done. Over. We left. And I did eventually sell them a house, but it wasn't that one. So I think I wrote about this a long time ago, and I think it was called Dirty Drawers Kill Deals. And this story stuck with me because when I finally got to the other side of the table and became a listing agent, this piece stuck with me. It cost me time, probably cost me money. Those lessons tend to stick with me. So as I'm working as a listing agent with sellers, I'm just a nut. Every listing I would take, I would open the stinking drawers in the kitchen because I want to know, am I going to get burned? And I know it sounds crazy to zero in on that one thing, but why? Why did the buyer walk away from that over a dirty drawer? It would have taken 2 minutes to clean it out. We all know, some of you already know the answer to this. But to really drive this home, let's look at how buyers actually find properties. In the beginning, they know just a few things. They know basically where they want to live. They kind of know a few things about the house that they want to live in. And they know how much they can afford. And that's about it. Well, in many markets, that's more than one number. Like there's going to be some choices. So at some point, you have to figure out how to narrow these things down. And in certain markets, it's way more than one choice. So you could have dozens and dozens of choices, maybe even hundreds. I don't know. So what a buyer has to do is start filtering. And that's what they do. They start narrowing and narrowing that search. So maybe instead of looking for this price range from here to here, we're going to shrink that down. We're going to focus in. And maybe instead of looking in this 3-county area, we're going to maybe shrink it down to 1 county or maybe even 1 or 2 neighborhoods. So there's that. And maybe instead of looking for 2 to 4 bedrooms, we're just going to look for 3 to 4. They're going to start filtering. And so that's one way. And almost any website will let you do this. Any buyer property search website is going to let you narrow things down. So anyhow, that's first number. If they don't fit in the criteria, they're gone. So guess what? Some reason about your home may have gotten it knocked out before the race even started. If you didn't fit their price range, their area, or their features, you're out. So there's that. Then what I did anyway, and what I think a lot of agents do is before I would go out and show them a house, I made the buyers drive by it. Because after 60 or 70 times in the early days, pulling up to a property, and I worked in rural Ohio, so it wasn't always right down the street. I might have driven a half hour to get there. It sucks. You pull up and they're sitting there in the driveway shaking their head. You're like, what? You roll the window. What's the matter? We don't like it. What do you mean you don't like it? I don't know. We just don't like it. They knew before we ever went in, they didn't like it. So why waste the time on the showing? So then, I get a little smarter. So I tell them, hey, I need you to drive by every listing before I set it up for a showing. Now, did they always do it? I have no idea. Probably not. But at least they knew better than to pull up to a property with me and say, we don't like it. Because at that point, we've got a problem. As not only did I make them promise to do it, I put it in writing. That was part of the deal. They enforceable, not really, but it drove the point home that we needed to do it this way. All right, so the drive-by, something about the outside. Maybe something going on with the curb appeal. Maybe something going on with the neighborhood. Maybe something going on. Who knows? They found a reason not to buy it. So it's gone. It's off the list. The list just keeps getting smaller and smaller. All right, next, showings. And what do? We walk through the house. We're not looking for our socks to roll up and down. It happens, but not usually. Typically, we walk through the house. If they can't find a reason not to buy it, it stays on the list. But if they can find any feasible reason to knock it off the list, it comes off the list. Because even if they love the house, if there's that one reason that's stuck in their head, that reason is going to plague them and it's only going to grow. The more hours between when we looked at it and when they actually signed to buy it, which could be weeks and weeks and weeks, that little doubt is going to just keep on. It's going to keep working on them. And eventually it's going to drive them crazy enough to walk away. And they'll find maybe some other reason to walk away, but they will. Believe me, most of the time they're going to find a way out of that deal, especially if another reason not to buy shows up, i.e. inspections. So Keep that in mind. So as they're looking through, as we're walking these homes, I'm keeping track of all the reasons they didn't want it, because if they say, no, this isn't the one, I would make them quantify for me as best they could why. Well, it just doesn't feel right. Okay, what does it? You just keep asking. Tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more. Because it's not just about me saving my Saturday afternoon, not driving all over. That was part of it. It's also part of why I became doing what I'm doing now. But the other part was I don't want to waste their time, and I don't want them to think I've got to bring some value here, folks. If I can't start showing them the proper houses, then what am I doing there? I'm just a chauffeur. I'm just a guy who's sending them listings. No, I need to be able to say, no, that's not why. And so there were times when people would call me and say, oh my God, did you see so-and-so came on the market? I'm like, yep, but it's not for you. What do you mean it's not for me? We want to see it. Really? So are you sure? Because it's got X, Y, Z. Because you told me on more than one occasion, oh, you know what? You're right. Nope. Now I'm adding value. Not just I get my day back, but now I've saved them from one, making a poor decision, and two, if they're really not hung up on that, then I've got more digging to do. If they say, no, it's not really a problem. Okay, well, let's go back to 123 Main Street. I need you to really help. You guys put your heads together. Tell me what it was about that house that you didn't like. If they can't tell me, they can't tell me. But many times, just a little extra push would help me, because I know buyers look for reasons not to buy. My job is to only show them properties. If I'm showing them properties that have the same problems as all the other ones they didn't buy, it's a waste of everybody's time. And I'm just demonstrating that I'm not a very good agent. Hey, real quick, while we're talking about reasons buyers don't buy, what if I told you that you could make more money and dodge a whole lot of these reasons and a lot of headaches the next time you sell? You probably want in, right? Well, Living to Listing is the online course if you want to become an expert at turning any property into the perfect listing. You'll learn how to eliminate countless problems so that your house sells faster and for more money. We've identified and solved almost every common pitfall that seems to show up and either kill the deal or at least cost you thousands of dollars. And as we've learned, the best way to solve a problem is to avoid it by prepping your home the right way. In Living to Listing, you'll get hands-on checklists and resources for each part of the process, along with short videos from me walking you through every step. And here's my promise. If this course doesn't meet your height standards, let me know and I'll refund you. So you've got nothing to lose. Check out the free preview videos at livingtolisting.com. See for yourself. Let me know what you think. Digging a little deeper into the dirty drawer. What's the real underlying message? I mean, most buyers will tell you, if it's got dirty drawers, what else is wrong with it? You know, they probably assume. I mean, a cracked window in some buyers' minds means, well, it probably needs a new roof and it's probably got termites. You know, they make these wild leaps because why? Because how you do anything is how you do everything. Sellers, listen up. How you do anything is how you do everything. That applies to every one of us. And we all know it. So if you didn't bother to clean the drawer when you put your house on the market, I doubt you serviced the HVAC. I doubt you've kept up on all the other hidden, difficult, expensive, boring maintenance items, because cleaning the drawer before a showing is really, really easy. Picking up laundry before a showing is really, really easy. Cutting the grass, I know it's not always easy, but if you know you have a showing come up or an open house coming up or photos coming up, you're going to find the time and you're going to prioritize it. And that's the secret. The buyers are going to be wondering, what else did you put lower on the priority list? You could try to convince them that you did all the dirty maintenance stuff that they can't see, but skipped all the easy stuff they can see. But I think you're going to have a tough sale on your hands. Just me. Probably not just me. So when you give the buyers even one single solitary reason not to buy, you are risking A, that buyer may just walk along with a whole lot of others, or B, if they do buy it, we start out in a hole because they're going to try to lowball you a little bit. And then their radar is going to be on full blast alert for the rest of the process because they think there's hidden stuff. They don't want to get screwed. They don't want to get burned. Nobody wants to be a sucker. So buyers, when they see reasons not to buy, they typically put the most weight on those things. Never mind all the reasons they should buy it. Never mind all the boxes that it checks. It just doesn't matter. You have to be right with one buyer and you're good. You're out. After you close, you're done. You're out. They have to live with that choice. It's not that I'm sympathetic to buyers or any of that. I am, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is that if you're selling your house, you better prep correctly, not just before it goes on the market, but the whole time until you turn those keys over, because most contracts contain some sort of last minute walkthrough. You're going to let it go after they get it under contract, after the inspections and appraisers are out of the way. Yeah, it could be messy because you're moving and all that. That's fine. Everybody gets that. But if something bad happens to it, if there's a leak that shows up and you don't tell them or fix it or both, then you're just torpedoing yourself. So lots of people think that the buyer just ultimately finds the one. Truth is, it's probably more like the last one. It's the only one that's passed all the tests. And typically they've looked at enough houses to know how rare that is, that it meets all of their criteria and they couldn't find any reason not to buy it. That's usually love. That's when it's the one. And they'll build that beautiful story later that we knew the moment we pulled up, whatever. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but probably not, because I've had plenty of buyers know that it was the one until we got into it. And then it wasn't the one anymore. So that's the story. I'm fine with that. What's your action? Your action is to prep the house so thoroughly. I talk about in my book. My book is called You Can Sell It, by the way. You find it on Amazon, Kindle, Audible. You find it everywhere. You can find it on my website. You can go find it. It's called You Can Sell It. But anyway, in the book, I tell you that you should clean the house. Then you should clean it again. Then you should hire someone else to clean it. If you have an old roof, do yourself a favor. Get a roof inspector out there. If it's bad news, better to know before you put it on the market, because then I can advertise it. Because if you can't fix it or won't fix it, I can call it out. So we're only attracting buyers who will buy, because what you don't want to be is that person that's like, oh, it's a beautiful house. Everything's turnkey. If it isn't, if you say turnkey, it better be move in, start living. But if you've got problems and you don't want to fix them, one, in the state of Ohio, if it's a material safety structural issue, you must, by law, disclose it. So there's that. But karmically speaking, it's the right thing to do. And practically speaking, why would you want to attract a buyer that isn't going to buy your house? You're just, because whether you know it or not, you're in a small community. People talk. If you don't tell the buyers that you had a roof leak and that the roof is about at the end of its life, it's not leaking right now, but it's about at the end of its life. Yes, they're going to figure it out. Yes, they can see it if they know anything, but why not just explain it and that you considered that in the pricing? Because you're going to get better offers, not higher offers. I didn't say higher offers. I said better offers, offers that are much more in touch. Because if they make you a full price offer thinking that there's nothing wrong with the house, then they find out something's wrong with the house, that's going to cost you more later versus disclosing it up front. I don't mean to launch into a whole thing on disclosure, but this does relate. Whatever your problems are, if you can't fix them, you must disclose them for your own good, legally, karmically, and practically speaking. It's the right thing to do, because then if I'm your broker, whoever your broker is, we can attract the right buyer for that house. Maybe a roofer in town wants to buy it and he can fix the roof, or she can fix the roof for a third of what it would cost you or me. We don't know. Yes, you're narrowing the pool of buyers, but you need to do that anyway because you only need one. I would like 2 or 3 so I could start a bidding war. But in a perfect world, everything would be fixed, everything would be new, but we know that this is not a perfect world. So the other option is you can pick up my course, Living to Listing, at livingtolisting.com, by the way, because it's going to walk you through all of the stuff that I'm going to preach at you about prepping the home. If there's one thing that sellers fail to do better than anything else is prep. I get some that are, it's a continuum, some prep better than others, but regardless, I have free checklists all over my website for how to prep your home. I've got a course that you can pick up for how to prep your home. We leave no stone unturned. If at a minimum, pick up my book or my free checklists, because it's going to take you through the entire prep process. Very thorough, very comprehensive. So go to livingtolisting.com if you want the course. Head over to talkingrealty.com if you want to see what else we have. But regardless, don't ignore this truth, because buyers really do look for reasons not to buy. So just don't give them any. Well, thanks for sticking around. Hopefully you learned something or got a good story to tell your friends. Before we go, a quick reminder that the Talking Realty podcast is brought to you by the Ohio Property Group, a family-owned brokerage serving all 88 Ohio counties with realtor services. If today's conversation sparked a new idea, answered a burning question, please do not keep it to yourself. Share this episode with friends or family who might benefit from it. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to Talking Realty so you never miss a thing. By the way, if you've got questions, you've got topics, you've got guests you'd like to see in future episodes, I would love to hear from you. Just head over to talkingrealty.com and say hi. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, keep making smart moves in your real estate journey. This is Glen Whitten signing off. And remember, you can sell it. We can help.